Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. We are getting so close to earnings season, I can almost taste it. It's around the corner. We have tomorrow, conclusion to this week, the long weekend, and then basically once we get into Monday of next week, earnings start to really take off. All right, and what ends up happening this earnings season, I mean, I could say this is certainly going to be one for the history books, just in terms of like just uncertainty around numbers, around guidance. I mean, it's really going to be a highly unusual earnings season, um, and because of that, I feel like what I normally look at and what I normally like the strategies I normally trade going to earnings, probably need to adjust those, right? Because it's not going to be a normal earnings season, so the normal strategies might not be applicable this time around. And um, as of this video, the VIX still trading at like very high elevations, right? Still looking at like a mid 30s VIX, and again, we've talked about this a lot. So higher VIX, higher option pricing, and um, this past week, we have had some good moves higher, but there has again been kind of like this pattern of a little bit choppier, kind of back and forth, like one day up, one day down. It seems like we're searching for like the next major move. So after like the really aggressive downtrend and the bounce, right? I'm talking about the XLF here. We're kind of just looking for like the next major move, whether it's 10% higher or 10% lower. And with that, with the choppy action comes like this implied volatility crunch, right? So higher VIX, higher options, but kind of choppy action, right? So you get that implied volatility crunch. And what's interesting about that is that it kind of creates this opportunity for these calendar spreads, right, into earnings or ahead of earnings. XLF was one on my radar just recently because next week is going to be like the who's who of bank and financial reports. Like every single major bank is going to have earnings for the most part next week. So I know it's like a sector that specifically is going to be very heavy in the news, right? Like basically every day you're going to have some sort of major financial institution reporting results, and the likelihood of XLF having higher volume, being in play on most of those days is higher, right? So this week, straddle was still pretty elevated as of like Tuesday, or even like if you looked at it Monday, because we're still moving around in the overall market, and the VIX is still high, so the option pricing is still high, but choppy direction, right? Choppy action, lack of clear direction. To me, like that kind of sets up the possibility of these calendar spreads where you're taking advantage of like the high implied volatility on like the shorter term contracts, right? So like this week's contracts when there's really no news, and you can use those to offset the price of next week's contracts where there's just numerous headlines expected, right? Like a ton of news expected. So you're going to get these setups as we kind of get closer to earnings, right? So because there again isn't a whole lot of visibility from like a day to day or a week to week basis, like this is kind of like a strategy I'd be thinking maybe like a week ahead of earnings, not like 3 weeks ahead of earnings. So if a company is reporting Wednesday, Thursday of next week, maybe I look at it like the Wednesday, the Tuesday, Wednesday of the week before, right? So I'm not going out that far in advance, but again, just trying to take advantage of these really expensive near term implied volatility on the options to offset maybe some trades into earnings. Just because I don't know what type of volatility we're going to get on the actual reports, and if there's a way to like lower those option prices or option premiums, I'm going to try to do that. All right. So like that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's like like the week before, or maybe like the week and a half before companies scheduled to report, maybe looking for these types of opportunities, calendar spreads, whether it's calendar call spreads, calendar put spreads, or even like with the XLF, it was actually a calendar strangle idea. But these are the types of things I'm looking for this earnings season, just to try to maneuver around this really, kind of volatile environment and also high option pricing. All right. Um, So if you like these videos and you're looking for more information on options education or more option trade ideas, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options to play. Stay safe, stay healthy. Hope you guys have a fantastic night, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.